your time is really valuable. In this video, I'll be talking about the concept of time, the elements of urgency, and the elements of gratitude. So, I think a common thing you'll find in the self-improvement space, there's two ideologies. There's your running out of time, right? That's one way to look at it. And the other way is you have time. Like, it's okay if you're not successful yet, because there's this other guy who became successful when he was 40, when he was 50. So it's okay. Like, there's no worry here. I think both of these ways of thinking are a little bit extreme, me personally. Or more like you need to use these ways of thinking based on which one you need. And that goes with any mindset. There's many ways of thinking about anything. Life is filled with dichotomies. And if you don't know what that means, a dichotomy is when there's like an equal and opposite idea, but they both are true. Or actually, I think it technically means when you grab an idea and you extreme it to one end, it's not good. When you extreme it to the other end, it's not good. So a lot of things are filled this way, honestly. But to get into the concept of time, and are you running out of it? Do you have enough? I mean, here's what really the way you should think about it is. Whether or not you have enough time or you're running out, this doesn't change how you should live your life, honestly. Because the most simple way of looking at everything is in days. And this is how I live my life. I look at things in days, weeks, and months. As of now, I don't look at things in years too much. Because if you look at things in days, weeks, and months, then the years just kind of fix themselves. Honestly. And if I were to sit down January and be like, hey, my goal this year is to do this thing, how much is that actually going to help? How can you monitor a year? I think it's out of the realm of your brain's ability to make change. I read this book once called Dopamination, and it talks about how your dopamine receptors reset after 1 month. And what that means is 30 days. And what that means is if you were to stop doing something that gave you a lot of dopamine, then it takes 30 days for your brain to kind of get used to that. So really 30 days is like the magical number for a lot of addictions. I'm sure the severity of the addiction does take a part here. But I've seen in my life this to be very true. If you can stop doing something for 30 days, the urge to do it drastically diminishes. Drastically. So anyways, that's why I think months are good to look at, because of the 30-day thing. And weeks are good to look at because it's part of a month. And every week is kind of like a new segment of the month. And then days are the most important thing to look at and analyze. Because you have to understand, this is truly your life. Your life is today. And every time you go to bed and you wake up, it's like a whole different thing. So if you don't do good today, if you don't do things correctly, then you're going to hate your life. Today is really the only day that your brain attaches itself to. Doesn't matter what you did yesterday. Sure, it carries over a little bit. There is this momentum you feel. But every day is like a reset. It's like a new slate, which is good. It's good. You should be happy about that. You have a chance every day to make a good day. And when you make a good day, you feel good. You feel happy. When you make many good days, you get a good week. When you make a good week, you feel good, you feel happy. When you make a good month, you're good and happy, right? And if you just keep extending this idea, it becomes a good life. It becomes a life that you are proud of having. So, to get back to the time equation, which is, do you have enough time? Do you not? It doesn't matter. So let's say you're 30 years old or you're 35 and you're not successful yet. Don't stress. There's no point of overthinking or stressing about something. Simply sit down, ask yourself, what do you want? Okay, you know what you want? Okay. Now, today, what can you do about that? Today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. Once you figure out what's the thing you can do it. Once you do the thing aligned with the path you want to be on, or better said, aligned with the destination you want to get to, and that alignment is your path. Once you're on path, you feel good, you feel happy, and you pretty much solved life. Because the attainment of the destination is not really what's going to free you from the stress. Not at all. It actually gives a lot of people stress once they attain the goal that they really want. Because for a lot of people, they thought that's why they were doing the thing they were doing. They thought they were on their path to get that result. When once they get the result, that's when they realize they weren't doing that for that reason. Or better said, they realized the true fulfillment wasn't in obtaining the result, but it was in the act of knowing you are on the correct path. The movement, that flow of energy that is going towards the destination you want to get to, that is the meaning of life. Or better said, that is the meaning of progression, which is how to become happy, which is how to be in your masculine energy. And that's how to feel good. When I said the masculine energy thing, I was thinking, like, does this apply to women? I had that thought. My first thought is, I've never been a woman, so I can't speak on that concept, right? That's my first thought. My second thought is, if a girl wanted a certain goal and she was on the path, then yes, I believe the path is what's going to set her free and make her happy. So I think it just applies to being a human. Really, it's like the goals themselves are usually what change between the genders. That's kind of it. It's like most girls don't want to take over the world. Most girls don't want incredible amount of influence over people. It's just kind of not in their average nature, right? I'm not saying every girl's like this, but everyone knows that the average politician is a man, that the average CEO is a man. I'm not saying anything about this. This is just the nature of men and women. Men want power. They want control. And if you want the power, I must quote this movie. A lot of people heard about this movie. I know you've heard about it. It's called Spider-Man. And there's this quote that's very popular. With great power comes great responsibility. I want to be the first to say this on a YouTube video because I've never heard this concept before, but I thought of it like years ago, and I remember I wrote it on my journal, but I never put it on some YouTube video, right? Here's my thought about that quote. It's true, but I think there's a more profound quote to be made, which is, with great responsibility comes great power. The inverse is not only true, but it's so much more profound of a statement. And not only is it profound, but it's so much more useful of a statement. Because that quote about with great power comes great responsibility, okay, but you might be thinking, but how do I obtain power? That's difficult. That's very difficult. Spider-Man obtained it because a fucking spider bit him. Not everybody's lucky that they're going to get some radioactive spider to give them superpowers. So that quote isn't applicable for a lot of people. I guess some people are already in positions of power, but for a lot of people, it's not applicable. However, with great responsibility comes great power. That's applicable to anybody. Anyone who has freedom, honestly, no, to anybody. Doesn't matter what state you're in, doesn't matter what position you're in, you can always obtain more levels of responsibility. And through the obtainment of more responsibility, you are granted more power. They are equal. They're literally equal. You can't get more responsibility but be losing power. It doesn't work like that. For those who understand, you have a very, very smart mind and you can use a lot of critical thinking skills. But I want these videos to be applicable to anybody. So let me give you some examples about what I mean. For example, let's bring this to like being super young. Like being like in 5th grade or something, right? And you're in a field trip. And the teacher asks, hey, who wants to lead the group in this field trip? We're gonna separate 4 different groups and we need 4 different leaders. Let's say this is what happens, right? It's funny because as a kid, I've always wanted that. I would quickly raise my hand and be like, yeah, I want to be group leader. I want to do it. So in this example, I jumped and I volunteered for more responsibility. And as a result, what happens when you're a leader? What happens when people are following you? That equals more influence. That equals more impact. That equals more... Impact is a really good word. Like, how much am I changing this environment? My environment. Which equals more power. I have more power. Pretty sure, and I used to study physics and I was an engineer. I'm pretty sure power literally equals, like the equation of power, I think it's force times area. No, I think that's impact. Power is like, that's like the impact divided by the area? Nah, that's force. Man, I'm really curious as to what power means, but there's no way I'm stopping this video for that. Wait, so if impact is force times area, no, I think impact is force divided by area and power is force times area. I could be wrong, but if I'm right, I'm actually really proud of myself because I didn't use my memory for that. I literally used my critical thinking skills. We'll see. Anyways, in that example, to bring it back, when I accepted to become the leader, I was granted more power. Which is funny because some people might be like, some kids in the class, the more, I hate to say this, but it's just true, the more beta kids, the ones who are more submissive, are the ones who wouldn't want this position. Instinctually. So for example, the teacher says the thing, I become the leader, now I have the power. Oh, and my point is that the beta kids, I put quotations because I'm not, it's fun, that word beta and alpha has been very, I guess, misused. I think it's just overused. Very overused. Actually, it has been misused. It has been. It really has been. Because being an alpha is not being this dominant, aggressive, inconsiderate male. That's not what being an alpha means. Not at all. That's like far from the truth. Very, very far from the truth. Sure, dominance is an element of masculinity. It's one of the biggest ones. It might be the second, third, top 3 words I would use for what masculine means, right? Dominance. Sure. But inconsiderate is not what a male is. Right? Males are not aggressive for no reason. That's not what being masculine is. That's not what being an alpha is. No. Being an alpha means you want to protect, you want to provide, you want to help, you want to inspire. You want to lead. That's being a fucking alpha, dude. So that's why I don't like the misuse of these words, alpha and beta, because they haven't been used correctly. But to get back to these kids thing, to this kid rant, what was I gonna say? Sometimes I lose my thought. Oh yeah, so some kids in the class, the softer ones, and this might be you, this might have been you, this might be you right now in life. Some of them, when they see the opportunity to become the leader, they don't look at it as like a positive opportunity. They don't look at it like, oh cool, there's an avenue there where I can become, where I can be granted more power. Instead, they become anxious and they look at it from a position of, fuck no, I don't want to do that. I don't want more responsibility. Look at all that work. I don't want to do that. Let someone else do that. I want to just bullshit in the back of the class. It's really interesting because they think in their mind, oh my, yo, I don't know if that cut off, but this happens too much, where the SIRI of my phone thinks I'm talking to it. I'm gonna turn that shit off because that really pissed me off. Anyways, it's really interesting that the people who choose not to have that opportunity, they think they are making the right decision. They think they are being quote unquote efficient. Because by the way, some of the smart kids will be thinking that. They'd be like, I don't want to be the leader because that's gonna give more time. And I want more time to do X, Y, Z or whatever. They would think some stupid shit. They think they're making the right decision. They think being a leader is a burden. And they don't accept it. And they don't want it. They avoid it. Not knowing that they are avoiding growth. They are avoiding their calling as a man, which is to lead, to fucking take charge, to take responsibility. So really, to bring it back to something, this was a metaphor, but to bring it back in your life. And actually, let me dig on this metaphor just a little bit more. The kids that decided to become the leader of the group, the people who do a good job, the teacher notices them more. And in life, this essentially means your higher ups, the people with more power than you, they notice you more. Not just notice, but if you do a good job, they like you more. The people below you, the students, if you're a good leader, you're not this dictator, but you're also not like a pussy. If you're a good leader and you're the right balance, and you make everyone feel heard and protected, then everyone below you likes you. They don't just like you, but they have more trust in you. It's funny because even if, let's say, a bad kid in the class, even if you scolded him in some sense where he did something bad and you had to kind of like correct him, but if you did it in the best way possible, even if you did that, even if he doesn't like you, he still sees you as like, oh, he's a position of authority. This guy has like that authority to him. It's about to start raining, so I do have to get back in. So essentially, so yeah, if you chose to be the leader, there's literally only positives, and if you chose to be if you didn't choose to be the leader, now you get no growth from this thing, right? So to bring it all back, this metaphor back to your life in this moment, understand that in your life right now, there are many moments every single day, every single freaking day where you have an opportunity to step up and get more responsibility. Sometimes it's not a teacher trying to tell you that, right? But understand, with more responsibility comes more power, comes more growth. This is what you want as a man. You want to seek it out. When someone's messing up on your team, you don't point the finger. You don't. You have empathy and you actually step up. Because you understand that the more you do, the more responsibility you take, the better you become as a man. Oh, he doesn't, the mindset is like, oh, he doesn't want that level of, I'll take it. I'll take it. So yeah. Are you running out of time? Perhaps. Do you have enough time? Perhaps. Changes nothing on how you should live as a man. Try hard every day and take responsibility. Let's go. Peace out.